Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Mesa-fied server. Oh, I do love this place, and boy oh boy, have we got an episode planned for today, got a project in mind, got things to talk about as well, and I really wanted to show you some progression over here. Not much has changed. My plan was to do some live streams and continue work on our path, on our rocky formation, but I actually started playing another game called Brothers, which has been fantastic on the streams, so no progression to show you over here. Maybe later on I have a little bit to show you, but we are going to be working on something else in this episode. We will be building a lighthouse. Oh yes, we will. Now in the last episode I showed you guys Cub's Dam, and I said that it was very cool and that I loved that it used the daylight sensor to kind of create an organic feel in the world. You know, this thing activates, it turns on and off during the day and the night. And so I asked all of you for something similar, any suggestions you had, and many of you pointed out that I have plans to build a lighthouse. And of course, what does a lighthouse do? It turns on at night time. So that is our perfect project right there. We're going to do the lighthouse and we're going to scratch that itch for something that turns on and off with the daytime. So I just wanted to show you this here as well. This farm, loads of people calling it the Melody farm because it's slightly musical. Really like that, by the way. Anyway, the staircase here is going to go down, and this is going to be the next floor. And what I wanted to show you is that we had already dug out this area here, which is going to lead to the lighthouse. So one day this will be a fancy, beautiful tunnel, and it will take us through here to where the lighthouse is going to be. Now this lighthouse, I want it to be relatively big. I want to do a nice sized scale project. However, we're not going to go over the top. We can't just build something that goes all the way up to build limit because it's going to look kind of ridiculous, and it needs to be in proportion with our base over here. So I've got a feeling it's probably going to be no higher than the tower and maybe come up to somewhere around its midsection. So when you're standing over there, it's a little bit taller than you are, but the base still dwarfs you from, you know, other areas when you're looking at this. And Beef is going to be able to see it as well. And also, my video settings, look at that, it's supposed to be on 20. I just realised that I had turned them down the other day. And so now we got rid of the fog. Anyway, distractions. I'm going to be building this thing out of quartz blocks. I might have shot myself in the foot there. I could have gone with white wool. I could have gone with bone blocks. These things are easy to get. But I decided, no. We're going to do this out of quartz, which may mean we're going to take several trips to the Nether. This is not the correct place. Yes, we have one of these spawners here, by the way. Every time you come and look at it, you get something different in the middle. Like now I think it's a baby zombie with gold armor. Sometimes it's a villager zombie spawner, and yeah, I'm not sure if that's a bug or a feature really. So yeah, we're going to rummage around our base for some quartz, and in the process of building this lighthouse, we will be chatting about a couple of things, because some big events have happened recently. First of all, a couple of days ago was my 5th year anniversary here on YouTube. 5 years since I uploaded my first video. You can check that one out for yourself. There'll be a link down below in the description box. And later on in this episode, I will basically be just talking about that a little bit. The other thing that I want to talk about is my appearance on the Minecon panel. If any of you saw that, yep, I was there as well. And there'll be a link to see that in the description box as well if you're interested, and we will definitely be talking about that because it was an interesting experience for sure. So I knew this, I had some quartz lying around. We got a stack of the ore and a couple of bits of nether quartz. We've also got red hardened clay, so when it comes to the other material we're going to use, it could be red wool or red clay. Either way is fine. And also, look at this, you see, Iskal has dropped me off loads of wool. It would be so easy to use it for this build. But no. I'm going to do things the hard way. We've got some more quartz over here, and look at this, we've got a big stash of it here as well. So believe me, I am not chickening out on going into the Nether. I do enjoy collecting some quartz. However, I went on to play.xisumavoid.com, built a little bit of a mock-up for this lighthouse, and it turns out that, you know, quartz doesn't look so great. In fact, wool tends to look a lot better, which is very convenient because Iskal has just given us a whole bunch of this stuff. But what looks really cool is when you chuck in a little bit of quartz in between the wool every now and then just to variate the texture, and it looks really nice. So an important thing that we've done here, as you can see, is dug down into the ground a little bit, because what I originally did is just build this directly on top of whatever was here, and then when you take a step back from the building, it kind of looks like it's floating, or it's just sort of been placed on top of. So by digging down a little bit, when you see this to the side, you'll see the landscape dip down a little bit and go back up, and that'll just make it feel a little bit more rested around here, you know, like it's been properly set into the environment. So what we're going to do for this entire structure is have a red stripe, then we'll have did I say red first? I mean white. We'll have a white stripe first and then a red one after it. And each of these stripes are going to be 4 blocks tall. So this will be the height that it goes up to. We'll do that going the whole way around, and then we're going to have our red stripe on top of it. Now for the red one, we will be using red clay. So I've got a whole bunch of that. And once again, it looks really good if you just throw in a little bit of wool as well. So every now and then, there's also going to be a block of wool thrown in to variate the texture. And it's going to make it look a little bit weathered as well, like it's been here for a while, which I think is an important thing with a build, because if everything looks very clean and pristine, it's not going to have as much charm, you know. So this will also go up by 4 blocks. I think we've done 2 so far, so it will go up to this height, and then that's where the next stripe starts again. But like a true lighthouse, it is going to cove in a little bit, so each layer going up will basically be a little bit smaller than the one below it. It's getting tall. It's getting really tall. I like this a lot. We are now going to do the section that has the redstone lamps, which will be the lights in it, and I sort of designed it in a way with a little bit of space on the inside, so hopefully we'll be able to wire it up with some redstone and make it all super fancy and activate at night time. Anyway, what you're seeing right here is the little border that we're going to put around. So we've got 3 sections of white, red, and then again. However, this one here, like, I don't know if you can see it, but it goes in just a little bit further, and that's something I didn't really notice when I was building it. And I actually really like that. For some reason, it being a little bit narrower than usual looks really good when this thing is finished. So we then have this rim where we go back to the size down there, and this is for the section that has the lights. So what we're going to do, I believe, is something like this, and then that is going to create a space for our lamps, which will be a 3x3 grid like this. And then we're going to do the same thing again on the top, like the opposite of what's below, so it'll be this shape all over again. And we're going to repeat the same thing over here. Now what we could have done is had it so that the blocks on the edge came back by 1, but then it means the edge of this would be exposed. So what I've done to sort of compensate that a little bit is just have a little bit here come back in, and that ends up looking really good. So that's kind of where the structure is going. I've just realized there is like no space at all for any redstone inside of here. I don't know like how I got that so wrong. Maybe it's because I've rebuilt it a few times. You end up with something that you like, and then you forget, oh wait a minute, it also needs to do this thing. I tell you what, redstoners out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. You rebuild your contraption so many times you end up forgetting an important detail. Wow, that is going to be tough. We have made a challenge for ourselves. That is next to no room for some redstone to go in here. I want this thing to sort of light up going around one at a time, so that's going to be really tough. But hey, I do like a challenge. And anyway, now we're going to be building the roof. So what we're actually going to do is copy the same pattern that we did down there a moment ago, and that's going to go around the outside here, and then we're going to build a little dome roof on top of this. Looking good from over here. Wow. Not so bad from this place either. Hey, you can see it from all the way over here as well. And from within the windows of our base. And from the garden too. From pretty much everywhere, this thing looks like a proper lighthouse, doesn't it? I feel like that roof is probably a little bit too domey maybe. But the height just about right, maybe on the short side, I'm not so sure. What does it look like from Beef's place, which is just back here? Yeah, I think he's going to look across and see something that fits into this landscape extremely well. I like that. That turned out so great. But this is only the beginning, because we got to do some redstoning inside of there as well. But before we get to that, we probably want to start to think about the path and how it's going to connect between these two areas. And the question is, can we make it without our flybow? Of course we can. That was an easy one. So while I prepare for some redstoning up there in the lighthouse, here is some footage of me doing some digging under the base, getting prepared for the second floor, or technically the third floor, the second basement floor, let's call it that. And I wanted to talk to you about 2 things in this episode. Right now we're going to have a little chat about Minecon, because there was a Hermitcraft Minecon panel, and I was actually a part of it. Now, the way that I was there was over Skype. I was brought in via proxy. Tango made a little Asuma head, put it on the stage, and I was a part of the panel. And that was all Tango's idea. He was really enthusiastic about it, and I want to say, Tango, if you're watching, like, a massive thank you for doing that. That was a interesting experience, but I definitely felt really strange about being part of it because I wasn't actually there. It kind of felt like, you're going to see the hermits themselves, and then there's this guy talking. It's like the only way you ever really know me is by hearing my voice. So it definitely felt a little bit strange, but I enjoyed it, and it seemed like the crowd enjoyed it as well. In the beginning there was some confusion because I couldn't really hear what was going on. I watched the video back and there was a big cheer, which was really nice to see. But anyway, something happened. It was before the panel started. I was hooked up into the system, but I was muted on the system, but I could hear what people were talking about near the microphones. And some people came up to where the microphones were and asked if I was at Minecon. And it kind of changed my perspective a little bit. You see, I see my YouTube channel and who I am from my own perspective, and you see it from a very different one. And it made me realize that I see so much stuff related to myself, and I don't see it through your eyes. And when I heard this message, where's Asuma? I could hear a voice, I could hear enthusiasm in it, and then disappointment when I wasn't at Minecon. And there are a lot of messages that I get. I get a lot of messages, will you do face cam, what do you look like, can we meet you in real life? And all I see is the message. I don't hear a voice. I don't really find out what's behind that message. And when you get so many of them, one after the other, over time, it can become a little bit of an annoyance. And it really kind of made me appreciate what people are actually asking for when they say that stuff. I haven't really changed my mind about doing these things, but it made me realize to appreciate it more because, for me, it had just become a message that I see over and over again. And I feel like I've tried to answer that message so many times, but there's so many of you, I can't reach you all at once. And, so I experience my channel knowing every little detail about what I do, and you guys have a different picture of it. So it was a very interesting experience, and something that I'm going to keep in the back of my mind. I said it earlier in the video, and I'll say it again. If you want to see the Minecon panel, the link is in the description box. Look at the lighting here as we head up. Because we're holding the torch, it looks really kind of spooky. I love that. Hopefully you were paying attention, because we won't see it again, because I put a torch up there. Great way to demonstrate it. Anyway, up here we're going to have a bit of a problem. You see, I wanted to challenge myself with the redstone, and boy oh boy is there a challenge, but I think it's one that we might not be able to overcome, or at least do in the way that we want to. Look at that, I put some ladders on that side over there, whatever. So up here I've been looking at several ways of doing this, and the main one is to power these like so. We will put redstone repeaters facing into each of these, and they will power the ones, right in front of the repeater, above, below, and to the side as well. So we can't have a perfect little strip. That's really just not possible with the space that we have. Now the problem here is that we're going to end up then with, behind these repeaters, some shared space. We can put redstone on these blocks, and then it means that the corner ones will be shared. So if we were able to create a signal that goes around in a circle, then the corner bits will be shared. Not a problem, but this has to go as a ring the whole way around, and then you end up with basically a gap in the middle. Like, how do you bring up a redstone signal through there? So then I had a little bit of a eureka moment. Aha, I know how we're going to do this. What we're going to do is send the signal up using redstone torches. So we would have like I've sort of picked the worst block to build things out of. Let's switch over to something that'll distinguish itself from the main build. If we had redstone torches coming up here, which I also got with me because I am prepared, then we can send the signal from down below where we've got more space. So the signal would sort of climb all the way up to the top here, and this may still be a viable option because we can put these in a little circle together and we can get that signal so it can go round in a circle. But I still haven't cracked how it is that we actually create this circuit that's going to activate them one by one. So really not sure if that's what we're going to do. Anyway, I then started messing around with this idea of using comparators and having like variable signal strength. That didn't really work out. And then I had a really good idea of putting a wall around like this and then having our redstone signal go around in a circle. So I was thinking, right, we're powering the one in the middle, it's going to power the one above and below and to the side, and what we'll do is we'll send up a signal strength that gets increasingly stronger, right? So it means that it will light up round in a circle. When it gets back to the ends, then maybe the signal decays all the way around and you get the proper lighthouse effect. The problem with this is it powers this block, which means it's going to turn on the redstone lamp not next to it, not the ones above and below. So that one kind of went out the window as well. Hi, you're actually supposed to be there, silly me. So yeah, I've had a few redstone ideas, and none of them are really working at the moment, which is kind of puzzling. To do some redstoning, we need some iron, for a reason you're probably not going to guess, but it's not a special one. Anyway, Tango has made no comment about this deal that we have to trade iron blocks for glass bottles. Of course, he's using them for his brewery, so I think we're still good with this deal. There we go. Instead of 2 diamonds, we're giving him 2 stacks of glass bottles. So I've yet to give myself time to really think about this, and it's important to do that with redstone because sometimes a solution just isn't apparent. You've got to think about all the different ways you can manipulate the circuit, and for what we want to do, geez, I don't want to take damage up here, it is going to be quite difficult. So here's what I'm thinking might work. We're going to have some cauldrons up here or something like that, and then have some comparators. So that's the best way I reckon we can get the signal up here. And so below it we have a whole bunch of redstone torches, which means that our actual circuit for controlling what's going on up there happens down below. And this is the best that I've got so far, but I've sort of realized it's still not really what we want. And there's many different ways you can program these lights. So this little circuit was made by Deco the Redstoner. It's called Even Smaller Signal Strength Counter. And it's a signal strength counter. Each time you give it an input, the signal strength increases, which is great. So if we press this button right here, it's kind of awkwardly positioned at the moment, but what we would have is a clock that activates during the night time, and it just sends a signal into here. So this has made the signal strength stronger, and you can see that it's activated the first one, which means now the light up there has switched on. So then we go and we press the next one, and what would you know, the next one's turned on. So now we've got 2 lights up there, and then we can do that a 3rd time and a 4th time, and basically this would travel around in a circle and it would light them all up bit by bit. The thing is though, that's not quite how redstones how lighthouses light up, right? You'd probably picture them turning on in a circle one by one as they go around, but they'd turn off as the next one lit up. So that's not what this circuit does, and I don't know how to make a circuit that does that, so I can't help but feel that we're going to end up with some sort of compromise on how this system works. Oh yeah, and the iron, by the way, thought this was quite clever. Rather than carrying over tons and tons of items, I just carried over, 2 stacks of iron, and then I split them down into 9 stacks of iron ingots, and that's what goes into each of these droppers. So the redstone's got my mind boggled, and usually it's just a good idea to think on these things, and eventually the right idea will come to mind. However, that has been so much more of a challenge than I thought it would be. I thought we were going to do something simple and straightforward. But anyway, now we're focusing on the path over here. This is something that I've outlined in recent episodes. We have a path going from Joe Hills all the way over to the area between mine and Biffers, and I really would like to get that finished off. So we've done a little bit of grass placing down on the ground over here, and I've got this entrance into the horseway kind of sorted out. It's alright. I feel like maybe it actually needs a little bit of grass blocks in there as well, or sorry, path blocks, and then yeah, you can see pretty nice transition here, and down we go into the cave. However, there's like this open area back here, so maybe it needs more work still. Anyway, what I'd like to focus on right now is the path out the front here. So there was another thing I wanted to talk to you about in this episode, and that is my 5-year anniversary here on YouTube, which was a couple of days ago. And 5 years, that's a crazy long time. And I'll tell you what, back then I would have never have guessed this, but it all started out with something positive. I was being creative in Minecraft, I was expressing myself, creating contraptions and sharing them with people, and that was quite a productive thing to be doing as a hobby. And then a few months into it I was introduced to monetization. I heard about other people talking about doing this full time, and back then that was kind of a scary thing to think about, you see. In this day and age, YouTubers as full-timers is quite well embraced, but back then it was kind of like on the edge. It was a new thing that was emerging for people to do. So I saw the opportunity there. I saw what could be ahead, potentially doing this for a job, and it was better than what I was currently doing, right, playing games. So I wanted to go for it, and that's when I decided I was going to buckle down, I was going to do the hard work, I would be disciplined, and I would just, do my best at this YouTube thing. that I could, and I've never really given up on that. I've always tried to do the best that I can. And it may sound a little bit strange to say things like hard work and discipline when we're talking about playing Minecraft, but it's really not just about playing the game. The playing the game is the easy bit. You've then got to go and do all this other stuff where you have to run a channel, you have to be consistent, you've got to schedule things and work with other people, and all of that stuff I've always put a lot of time and effort into. And because of that, Minecraft has become a very fun game to play because it's what I get to do every day, which is fantastic. And there have been hard times where playing the game has been a little bit difficult, but I've got on my way through all the ups and downs along the journey, and the last year or so has really just been fantastic. I've been in the right frame of mind to enjoy everything I'm doing, and I've been really enjoying it, and I feel like I've seen the fruits of my labour now because I have my own house thanks to working so hard on YouTube. So the 5 years have really taught me that if you work hard for something, you can achieve that. And that's not always true, because life isn't fair. I just got lucky, I guess you could say. And so on a live stream we did the other day, I got a lot of messages saying congratulations on 5 years, here's to another 5, and that really put some thoughts into my head. I started to think, hey, do I still want to be doing this in 5 years? And I think the answer is, I'm going to do this the way I've always done it, which is to focus on the moment and the next day, continuously work hard and make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing. And then there's nothing to worry about really, because the moment that you start to not enjoy it, you can move on, you can transition, you can do something else for your time. So I'm just going to look forward like I've always done and just keep doing what I do, keep enjoying it, and who knows, we might still be here in another 5 years. That would be pretty crazy. But there are people out there who've been on YouTube for 10 years, so who knows what will happen. I know, you're probably just dying to see that path. You want to see me walk through it, don't you, after that amazing time-lapse speedy up bit with me chatting about YouTube. I'm joking, but I happen to be over here collecting some flowers for our greenhouse, which a lot of people didn't really get the joke. I know that a greenhouse has got a glass roof and is built out of glass. That's kind of why I called it the greenhouse, because it's used for the same purpose, yet it has a green roof. Hi, I missed one over here. Anyway, I thought I'd come over here to the swamp and get some more of those flowers that we need to fill up all of the pots inside of the greenhouse, and it reminded me that our witch farm is no longer working. That scared me for a second. I thought something had happened to the top of it, but it was still loading up there. So it would seem that for some reason something is different about this server, and these guys can actually shoot the iron golems. So the ones at the top, they're not able to shoot the iron golem over there, which is why they're still firing. But these two levels right here are actually shooting the iron golems and eventually killing them. Why, I haven't figured out yet, but it means that I've got to replace these guys, and it's actually really tough to get in there and replace it properly without anything going wrong. So I'm not going to rush into that. I'm going to wait until I've got some time to stroll over here and fix it. So currently the witch farm is running at low efficiency, which isn't good because I burned through all of that glowstone it produces, and I'm actually starting to run out of redstone as well, so need to get over there and fix that at some point. So I've been out here gathering some other types of flowers, and it's actually time for me to leave. I really can't do this without F1. I've really been trying, and I always need that just to get the right height. I can't find it without. And somewhere around here there was something that I actually wanted to show you. Bam, there we go, getting a little bit of speed, and it might take us a second here to find it. Aha, there it is. Look at that house. Looks gorgeous, doesn't it? There's actually a path that comes all the way out from the district over to this bit right here. And let's see if I can do it again. Can I hit myself? Hey, we got me. Excellent. And yeah, this goes all the way through this little bit here, over these hills, and it leads all the way back to the mesa. So it's a nice little way to get back home, And look at this. On the way back, there's another building. I thought that it looked like it wasn't loading properly, but actually I do believe it is just a rundown old little house that has been abandoned and overgrown, which is extremely cool. I had no idea this existed. I love these little details that you can find when you go and explore a multiplayer world, And so we return safely to put the rest of these in, and that's all of them. The room is now full up. All of the pots have plants in, and they look extremely cool. Very, very happy with how this project has turned out. I've obviously got to move these chests away. There are plenty of chests that need moving. But I've got a question for all of you. Where does this lead to? I don't know. As of right now, I've got no ideas where this is going to go to. I've got no projects planned. If you've got any ideas, let me know, because it's got to go somewhere. That is a gorgeous view right there. Look at that. Lovely. This lighthouse looks amazing from this side over here. I've got a feeling though from this side where we can see the octavoid, well, not when we turn around. Yeah, it needs a bit of work on that side because there it just sort of hovers above the land a little bit. But great start to this project. Shame about the redstone, but that looks gorgeous. And do you know what makes it look really nice? The little bit of variated textures right there. They are the finishing touch. So I've been doing more digging in the room here, just preparing for future projects, and we come up against a little bit of a hiccup. Behind that is the elytra launcher that we have further down in the base. So there is a little garden there that comes back to this height, and somewhere just over here there's also some other paths and things that come into play. So we can't sort of go too far further back than this wall, which means that we'll probably end up with a flat wall against this here. But anyway, that's going to be it from me this episode. If you didn't see it, a couple of days ago, the announcement for Minecraft 1.11, I have a video on my channel. You should definitely go check this out if you haven't seen it already, because amazing things be happening in the future. I am really excited for this next update of Minecraft. It looks ever so cool. Torch on the ground. We did that. Anyway, yes, that's it. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like. As always, thank you for the support, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.